Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Oh, no thanks. Hi, I'm Sharon. I'm an alcoholic. Oh, it's very nice to be here. I'd like to thank Bob for asking me to come and speak tonight. It's always hard for me somehow to get started, and I was sitting there and I thought, well, start with your AA joke. That's how you get started. And to me, this is only sort of a joke because I have a really hard time remembering things. You know, people were saying where the meeting used to be, and I can't remember that. And Bob had read where I had spoken someplace in, what was it, like 94, and I can't remember that. And I don't remember a lot of things. And I would always say, oh, I have Alzheimer's, oh, I have Alzheimer's. And then it occurred to me, I really don't have just Alzheimer's. I have alcoholic Alzheimer's, because I forget everything but my resentments. And so it's like, I would like to stand up here and tell you how sober I am today and how the program works in my life today and how, you know, I've got time in the program and everything's going great for me. And the truth is, and one of the people said it, I think was maybe Courtney said, you know, the years are easy, it's the one day at a time that is, who said, oh, I'm sorry, the birthday, you see, I forgot, I forgot, now I forgot what I was saying. So they were saying it's not the years are easy, it's the, oh right, yeah, so it's like my first thought, even with having time on this program, is the alcoholic thought. You know, I don't immediately go right into, gee, you know, how would Bill see this? I go right into, you know, who do they think they are? Where do they get off? And then I have to pull myself back into the program. And if I can't pull myself back into the program, I have to get to a meeting or call another sober alcoholic or call my sponsor, because I'm an alcoholic. And it's been 19 years since I've had a drink, but just a few minutes ago, I'm sitting here thinking like an alcoholic. So that's what I have to watch out for. I was a daily drinker. I was a blackout drinker. I don't even remember a lot of my drinking. I went back when I grew up in New Jersey. I went back to visit a cousin there, and she said, well, let's go to this place. And we went to this place, and I'm walking around, and I'm going like, oh, deja vu, deja vu. I'm like, wow, I feel like I've been here before. I was in the ladies' room, and I feel like I've been here before. And my cousin said, Sharon, you drank here for 5 years. You know, it's like, oh, okay. So it's sort of like I don't remember a lot of what went on. However, I do remember what it was like coming out of a blackout. And I do remember the shame. I do remember the guilt. I remember a lot of that. And I grew up in an alcoholic family, which, you know, that's like surprising for an alcoholic. You know, I grew up in an alcoholic family, and I'm just really, really beginning to appreciate and respect the damage that alcoholism did to my family. And the way I'm getting to see that is in the damage that I continue to do on a daily basis to myself, to my family, to my friends. And I have an incredible respect for alcoholism today. You know, I've heard people say you have to know your enemy, and I have incredible respect for alcoholism today. And I think I've come to that by having incredible respect for recovery and what we have to go through as alcoholics to not drink. And I was one of those people. I didn't trust anybody who didn't drink. I didn't think I was going to live past 30, so I'm clueless how to go about doing this. You know, I suddenly went from puberty to menopause, and it's like, what is going on here? It's, you know, like it's this whole trip that I'm just trying to keep up with, and it's all of the one of those strange mental blank spots. It's like, anyway, in that line, the lessons that I've learned in AA have been the simple lessons that the big book talks about. You know, I haven't had the big revelations, the burning bush, the God aiming me in the right direction. I've had real simple lessons that have turned out to be incredible lifesavers to me. And I remember I was in this meeting one time, because when I came to AA, I hated it. I hated all of you. I hated all the stupid stuff you said. I'd listen to people up at these lecterns saying, you know, turn it over, easy does it, one day at a time. And I'd say, crap. You know, these people with their crap. And it'd be like this endless crap. One more person with more crap up here. And then, you know, back when I was getting sober, they were really big into like the footprints in the sand thing. And then I realized God was carrying me. And I'd think, these people stay up at night thinking of this crap. Because you can't just like put this off the top of your head. I mean, you've got to really work at this crap. And I'd sit in the back of the room and I'd be pissed off and I'd be like, you're all hypocrites, you know, you're all saying, oh, we're here to help the alcoholic. Well, nobody's helping me, you know, nobody's putting their hand out to me, nobody's making me welcome. And I guess I had bad attitude when I came in here. And the truth is, I was really scared. I was really scared, and I didn't have a clue why, and I didn't know how to ask for help. I was just petrified that if I asked for help, you'd say, well, why would I want to help you? What's the deal about you? Why should anybody help you? So I just, you know, growing up in an alcoholic family, I learned to do things on my own. If something had to get done, I was the one to do it, and I figured that's how sobriety was going to be. I was going to be the one to do it, and who needed all of you? And then they'd say, oh, you know, get someone and share after the meeting, and it's like, my business was none of your business. What was going on with me? You didn't need to know what was going on with me. That was none of your business. And then someone would say, and remember, you're only as sick as your secrets. And I'd be like, just really so pissed off. I mean, I think my first 2 years in this program, the only image I can get of myself was like being a hornet in a coffee can, just slamming against the sides of the walls because I didn't know what else to do. And I didn't trust anybody. I didn't, you know, and I remember one time being at this Sunday meeting, the Airdrome meeting that I went to all the time. And this guy came in through the back door, and he was really drunk, and he was yelling and screaming and making a scene and calling people names. And they did what great AA people do. They kind of went up to him and got him coffee and talked to him. And the guy sitting next to me said, oh, don't you hate that? I hate that. I hate that when they come in like that. And it all dawned on me. It all cleared up for me. I don't hate that. I am that. I would be way more comfortable coming into this room, making a fool of myself, calling you names, acting like a jerk, ruining this meeting, than trying to be here being a responsible, sober person. I know how to screw things up. I don't know how to take commitments. I don't know how to be responsible. I don't know how to be loving. I don't know how to be trusting. I know how to screw things up. That's what I know how to do. And when I got that, I got that I was here because I wanted to drink, not because I was this good person who didn't want to drink. I was here because I wanted to drink and I didn't know how, and I finally got that it was ruining my life. It was killing me. I needed to stop, and I needed some place to go where I could do it. And I was like at the bottom of the barrel. Here, AA. I've sunk to this. I'm here in AA. And I realized years later that my fear was it was going to work for all of you. It wasn't going to work for me. That God was going to be there for all of you, and God was not going to be there for me. And one more time, Sharon was going to be on the outside looking in and left out and passed by and no good and all of that stuff that I carried with me for years. And I remember being at this one meeting. I'd go every Wednesday night because it was a round-robin meeting, and someone would call someone who would call someone else, and once again, no one ever called on me, so I got to sit there and be right about what hypocrites you were, because here I am hurting, and whoever calls on me. And so this night, I remember the leader was sharing about his daughter was dying of cancer, and how grateful he was that he was a sober dad there for his daughter, and he wasn't out just drunk, not there for her. And at that time, my father was dying of cancer. And lo and behold, wouldn't you know it, that night they called on me. And I swore, I told myself I was never going to cry at an AA meeting. No one was ever going to see me cry. I didn't need your sympathy. I didn't need anything from any of you. And I started to share about my father, and I started crying these like really horrible, like kind of tears, which totally mortified me. And somewhere along the line, I had picked up not to leave a meeting till the very end. I got that. I figured that out, because I would go to meetings, and I know this is true because I would go. They had this 7:30 in the morning meeting, or maybe it was 7, at the log cabin, which is now huge. When I was with like 6 people when I was going, and they called it the Attitude Adjustment Meeting. And I'd go to that meeting, and I knew it worked because I'd go in feeling fine, and I'd come out pissed off. And so I knew this attitude adjustment stuff was really right there. Yeah, so Sharon, so I'd go to that meeting. I knew they were. So if I thought I could leave a meeting just because I was angry, to this day I wouldn't have made it through a whole AA meeting. I'd still be showing up, getting pissed off, and leaving. So I got that I had to stay till the end. So I'm crying at this meeting. I want to run out of there. I want to get out of there. At the minute they say, keep coming back, it works, I hit the door. And this guy goes, Sharon, wait a minute. So I stop, and he says, I don't know who you are, but my father just died, and I feel the same pain that you're feeling, and I just want you to know I love you. And I said, thanks, and left, being like a giver at the time. And God, I think back, what a mess. And I swore, I'm driving home, and I'm saying, I'm never going back there again. I'm not going back to that meeting. I don't want to see any of those people. And it occurred to me that that's exactly what my alcoholism was about. Can't go back there. Can't face that person again. Got to steer clear of there for a while. And I got that my sobriety, I had to be able to go any place, look anyone in the eye, and deal with whatever had to be dealt with. And I went back the next week, and that same guy came up to me and said, I'm really glad you're back because I feel like I have a new friend. And what I felt like I had this stone wall around me that suddenly a little bit of the cement mortar that was holding it together cracked out, and this ray of sun came in and touched me, and the big book calls it the sunlight of the spirit, and it actually hurt me. It hurt me to have someone care, to let that in, and I got to see how alone and isolated I had been for so long. And the big book tells us that once we're touched by the sunlight of the spirit, we don't want to go back. We don't want to let anything stand between us and that. And he's still my friend today, and we've gone through a lot together, and I got to learn about love because I had bonded. Maybe I'm really glad there are people who identified as Al-Anons because I think we all share some common stuff, and I had bonded love and something, love and fixing, love and hurt, love and get even, love, and I didn't know what love was. To me, love was just this vague thing, and if you loved someone or they loved you, there were consequences. And what this guy was talking about was unconditional love, that he just felt the same kind of pain I felt. He had the same disease that I had, and he opened his heart to me. And today, that's one of my concepts of a higher power. It talks about in the appendix of the book that we will come to know an untapped inner resource that will something like call our higher power. And to me, that's when my heart can open up to touch the heart of another alcoholic whose heart is opened up, and we just pass that along. We give freely of what we find with that, and it took me a long time to get that. I was around this program for 2 years, totally miserable. And I know for a fact that you can be in these rooms as long as you want and be as miserable as you want, or you can do what's suggested. And I wasn't going to do it. And I had decided it was too much. I was in too much pain. I couldn't take it anymore. And I was going to let you know exactly what I thought of you. And I went to this meeting that used to be at the USO Club in Hollywood. And when they said, okay, the meeting is now open for sharing, who'd like to start? And my hand went right up, and I went off like Linda Blair in The Exorcist. I was just going mad. And they laughed at me. They just laughed, And so I'm thinking, well, okay, because I figured what was going to happen is I'm going to let you know what's really going on for me, and you're going to throw me away. And I thought, well, they're too slick for that. So at break, someone's just going to quietly come up to me and say, you're not really talking the AA line here. Why don't you leave? And at the break, all of these alcoholics start coming up to me going, wow, that's great. You can get in touch with your anger like that. You have to come back again. We'd like to have you at this meeting. And I'm going like, these people are wacky. They really are out there. But again, the lesson I learned was AA wasn't going to throw me away. I was the one throwing me away. Every time I didn't call someone on the program, I was throwing me away. Every time, for as long as it took me to get a sponsor, I was throwing myself away. Every time I didn't go to a meeting, I was throwing myself away. It's not, AA has been there for 65 years now. AA is going to be there. It's solid. And it's my thinking that keeps me away from it. People would say, oh, there's so much love in these rooms, and I'd say, there is not. There's nothing in these rooms. And today, it's just because I couldn't feel it. These rooms are filled with love, and I couldn't feel it. And so I thought it didn't exist. So I started learning little by little to participate, to let people know who I was and what was going on with me. When I did my fourth and fifth step, I thought, okay, this is going to be like the big thing, the big release, and it wasn't. It was a nightmare writing my fourth step. It was a nightmare, people going, did you do it yet? Did you do it yet? And it's like, forget you. And then when I did it, I didn't have this great sense of lifting that I hear people talk about, but I had the understanding that I did it, and I knew that I was participating in the program on a new level, and it made a big difference to me that I had gotten through it and just did what was suggested. When I had 4 years, I remember I was at Cedar Sinai. I was going to take a cake, and I really wanted to drink. I was just sick inside. I was shaking inside. I wanted to drink. And there were times, the first 2 years were a nightmare for me. 4 and 5 were really difficult for me. And at this meeting, I said to this guy, I really want to drink now. And he said, oh, well, take so-and-so with you. She's only got 30 days. She'd go out, and so-and-so, well, he's got 60 days, but he'd love to go out with you. In fact, Sharon, you could just gather up a little group from this meeting, and you could go right across the street. If you want to drink that much, you got a bunch of people here who'd love to go with you. And it was like, oh, right. Once again, I'm here because I want to drink, not because I don't want to drink. You're here because, it's like, oh, okay, I got it. And what was going on with me, I have spent most of my life trying to look good. Somewhere along the line, I don't know whether I got it from the family, whether it was from Sister Mary's psychopath, whether it was from, something I made up all on my own. But I thought I had to be perfect. I thought I had to do everything right. I thought I had to be good. And two thoughts just went in different directions. One of them went in, I just had this big connection that occurred in my head. When I got here and I heard the 7-step prayer, I am now ready, dear God, I'm ready for you to have all of me, good and bad. It was like I could breathe a sigh of relief, because I thought God only wanted good and would punish bad. And when I got that I could open up good and bad to God, it was an incredible relief to me. Now the hookup there went into inventories, like the 10th step. If I'm doing this, inventory of my day and how well I've done, I've got to look at the good and the bad. And I have a tendency to either be like, terrible Sharon, bad, look what I did, I'm a mess, oh God, or I don't want to get punished by God, so I'll only be like perfect Sharon, good Sharon, all this good stuff going on. And lately I've been having these problems, like I'm really going through some stuff that's, my mind is having a hard time wrapping around. And I've had to really, I was explaining the situation to someone, and they said, well, it sounds like you're in a maze. And I said, well, I am, and I feel like I'm running through it, and I'm slamming into this wall, and so I run the other way, and I slam into that wall. And she said, well, Sharon, maybe you just have to sit down and let God guide you through that maze. I would rather she had said, Sharon, dye your hair, buy this book, take this workshop. Go. I'm a doer. I'll do it. But to sit down and trust that God is going to come to the maze and guide me through it, I still have a hard time just sitting quietly, waiting for God to do God's thing. And that's when all of these pieces started, because I was afraid if I put out the good and the bad to God, God was going to go, oh, thanks for the info, now I'll get you for being bad. And then it occurred to me, if I don't put it all out, then I don't do this for God. I think God knows it all. I don't have to do this for God. I do it for me, so that I get to see the playing field, so that I get to acknowledge my strengths and my weaknesses, and then the answers can come in using everything, using all my potential. Because a lot of the times things that I view as my weaknesses or my bad things end up working for me. End up being something that God can use to make things happen. And a lot of the times, the things I think are the really good things, like my ability to try and control your life and fix your life and make everything okay in your life, ends up being not such a good thing. So I have to be able to present it all in my inventory, give it over to God, sit down in my maze, and wait for God to come and guide me out of it. Now, that's driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts, and I know that's the answer. I know that's all I can do right now. And I'm in that place where more is being revealed on a daily basis, and I'm seeing more and more how deep my alcoholism goes in me. I'm seeing how deep my self-hate goes in me. I'm seeing how deep, and the big book talks about we're the director and we get everything set up, and we'll either bully people or be so sweet to people. And I'm seeing all of that stuff out in front of me, and the thought of just sitting and being quiet really makes me be afraid that God's just going to not be there for me, and God's going to ignore me. Now, that's not my experience. My experience is God has been there for me every step of the way when I let God be there. I'm the biggest obstacle to my sobriety. I'm the biggest obstacle in my life, and it's getting over my alcoholic thinking. And something a few years ago, it's like I thought I was this great thinker. I thought, whoa, I think thousands and thousands and thousands of thoughts in a day. And what I found out is I only think about 3 thoughts a day. I just think them thousands and thousands and thousands of times. And then I began to see that these thoughts, I can only be in one of 2 places. I'm either in my recovery, and I'm really in good shape when I'm in my recovery, or I'm in my disease. And when I'm in my disease, I've got approximately 3 categories that I flow into in those thousands and thousands of thoughts. My first category is typically, poor me. Look what they're doing to me. How can this be happening to me? I got sober. I thought my life was supposed to be great because I'm sober. How could this be happening to me? The next one takes various forms, but it's sort of like, where's mine? Oh, what do you mean you got that? Well, God gave you that. You're always hearing people at these meetings. I got sober in Hollywood, and people are always going, oh, I've been sober 6 months, and God gave me my own TV show. And I'm like, where is mine? Where's mine? I would like my own TV show. Where's mine? And then, so it's poor me, where's mine, and pardon my language, but fuck you. And that's it. That's the wheel spinning thousands and thousands and thousands of times in my head. Now, when I first got sober, that was like Niagara Falls in my head. It was non-stop Niagara Falls in my head. And the only thing that helped me was I put the Serenity Prayer in there. And as soon as I got off and running, I'd just keep saying the Serenity Prayer over and over and over and over. And it would start to calm me down. And as soon as I'd stop, bam, I'd be right back in it. So I'd have to put the Serenity Prayer back in and say it over and over and over. And so that's what I did, because I couldn't stand listening to what was going on inside my head. I couldn't stand it. I've had different areas of healing in this program. Job. was a nightmare for me. I bottomed out completely in sobriety, and it may have even been around the time I was 4. Some things are so vivid to me that I can tell you the day and the meeting I was at when they happened, and some things I can't even get into the right decade with them. So this is like, so the job thing, that's where I was, the job thing. I bottomed out, and I really was waiting for job. I was ready, I was ready for God to give me the fabulous job. It's like, I'm tired of these crappy jobs I've been having. I'm ready for that big, fabulous, either give me the office or give me the show or give me some, but I want the big, fabulous job. And I wasn't going to settle for less. I was ready for that big, fabulous job. I deserved it. I wasn't drinking. I deserved this big, fabulous job. And it wasn't coming, and it wasn't coming, and I was down to and I'm going to guess at these amounts, I don't remember, but I was down to my last $40, and I thought, well, I can get soybeans for the month to live on, or I could go see Chorus Line. And I decided I'd get a ticket to Chorus Line, forget living for a month, I'll go to Chorus Line. So I was at the morning attitude adjustment meeting, and I think I had about $40 in my pocket. And this guy is sharing at the meeting, and he's saying, I just got sober, and I lost my bus ticket, and the bus is the only way I have of getting to meetings, and a new one would cost $40, and there's just no way I can get that money. And I'm going, no, God, no. This isn't even funny. Whatever the amount this guy needed was exactly the amount I had. And after the meeting, I went up to the guy. I said, here, get a bus ticket. You need to be getting to meetings. You're new. You need to be getting to meetings. And he said, oh, I can't take that. And I said, oh, no problem. No problem. And he said, oh, okay. Took the money, and I'm like, you son of a gun. You sorry son of a gun. Now I need a job. This is no joke. I need a job. And as only, I'm sure your higher powers have the same really funny sense of humor that mine does, I got this job offer, and it was industrial dishwashing. And I was washing pots that were the same size as me. And I just said, thank you. And I showed up, and I washed those effing pots, and I said, thank you, God. I needed this job. Thank you. And after that, it was like those events occur where someone said, oh, I do catering, and I need someone to help at a party with catering. Do you have any catering experience? And I said, well, yes, I do. Yes, I do. And because I was for a catering company that I was washing these dishes. So, I got the job at the catering company working as a waitress. And then little by little, I got to know other people, and they'd say, oh, there's a job over here. And then I started doing the booking for this company, and then that company grew really big, and I was like the personnel department, and it just kept progressing to the job that I have today, which I'm very happy with my job. It has nothing to do with catering. Nothing whatsoever. I haven't washed a pot, at work in over 10 years now, and I honestly believe if I had said no. See, what I learned is I wanted my job to give me my self-esteem, and what God was trying to teach me was that was an inside job. No, nothing. God could have done anything and given me any kind of job at that time, like any great, fabulous job, and I would have still felt like I didn't deserve it. I was a fake. I was all of these things. And God gave me the opportunity to learn that I wasn't going to get my self-esteem from my job, that my job was just a job. I show up, I do the best job I can, I be of service, I have a good attitude, and that's it. I don't get any more than that. And the self-esteem is something that I have to work on from the inside out. And whether I'm washing pots or sitting at my desk, I have to feel good about who I am no matter what. Not because of what I'm doing, but because of how I live my life. And so that was like a big lesson for me. And I had this whole list of things that I wanted from God, and God always has given me what I needed. And my prayers, my first prayer started out as like Monty Hall prayers, like let's make a deal here, God, I'll do this, you do this, I'll hold the ball, you kick it over the goalpost, we'll all be stars, anything like that. And when, they talk about that journey from your head to your heart, and when my prayers became the simple prayers from my heart of just, I really feel little, God, and I can't handle that, I've always gotten the help I needed. It's in one form or another, it has always been there. And sometimes I don't recognize it as God working in my life till, after the fact, and I look back and I think, whoa, that was God, that was God. And, but it's hard for me to just get to that place. Relationships have been hard for me. I would spend like a couple of weeks getting to know who you were, and then spend the rest of the relationship beating you up for being that person. And at one point in my sobriety, I really got that I didn't have a clue how to be in a relationship. I didn't have a clue how to relate to another human being. And I said, that's it. I have to work at being at peace with Sharon, getting along with Sharon, being comfortable in the world. And that's what I'm going to be about. No more of this like going out to meetings, looking to see if Mr. Next was there. It was like just get centered with where I am. And right around that time, I would give myself assignments. I'd do these things, and my assignment, a person asked me to go to their first AA birthday, and I hated going to parties because I didn't know how to talk to people. I was always uncomfortable, and I said, okay, Sharon, your assignment is going to be to go to the party, talk to 3 people that you don't know, and then you can leave. It's simple enough. So I go to the party, after spending like 2 hours trying to figure out what to wear, and okay, now I look good, oh, now I look too good, oh, now it's like craziness. So I get out the door, I go to the party, and I walk in and I see this guy I know talking to a guy I don't know. And I said, well, that'll be good. I'll go up and say hi to him. He'll introduce me to the guy he's talking to. That's number 1. 2 more, I'm out of here. So he introduces me to the guy he's talking to. Within 30 seconds, we're in a fight. We're in this big argument. Now, can you guess who's my husband today? I left that party, talked to my 2 other people, left, saying to myself, thank God that jerk didn't ask for my phone number. Thank God. Well, I'm married to him today. And we both said, you're not the person I'd have picked. We to this day are baffled at how we have ended up married to each other. I'm from the East Coast, he's from the West Coast. I like being with people, he likes it being quiet. If I say it's too cold in here, he says it's too hot in here. We are like totally opposite, and we just work at our marriage one day at a time. And this is the thing that I'm going through today, because I've really had to stop and look at the amount of controlling that I try to do, the amount of manipulating that I try to do. I mean, I'm an alcoholic. I grew up at the knee of alcoholics. I'm a little commando fighter. I'm ruthless. I'm evil. And you wouldn't know it looking at me, Just talk to me for a few minutes, you get the picture though. And I'm really having to learn that, and I'd always say, it's him. If he did this, we'd be happy. If he did that, we'd be happy. And today I can honestly say it has nothing to do with him. I have to go into my inside journey and get to know more about who I am, what I want my life to look like, what my needs are, what's going on. And that's all foreign territory to me. I'd way rather look at your needs and straighten you right out. That makes more sense to me. So the program has taken me on this long journey around and around, and my alcoholism took me on this long journey, and it's bringing me back into my own heart and what's in there and what exists for me. And I've put a lot of work into developing myself professionally, and I've put a lot of work into my relationship, and I've put a lot of work, I have a sister with Down syndrome who lives with me, and I put a lot of work into her. And I recently have started saying, I don't really have a sense of who I am. I'm a doer. I have a sense of what I do, but I don't have a sense of who I am. And I have to stop now and get quiet and get close to God and trust that He's going to find me in this maze and trust that He's going to lead me through it. And I have all the evidence in the world that says that will happen, but I have all the fear of an alcoholic that says, what if it doesn't happen for me? So all I can do one day at a time is show up, be of service, clean house, trust God, and work my program, and I have so much support and love in my life today. I know I'm not going to fail. I just know I'm not going to fail, and I know when I get to the other side of this, it's going to be a wonderful place. It's just sometimes the journey between where I am and where I have to go is rocky for me, and that's when I have to know that there is only one set of footprints in the sand, and God truly is carrying me, and so are all of you. Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think. Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.